All right, Ian,
we got a Patreon.
We got a Patreon poll.
Yeah, we do.
You go to patreon.com. So
I see you podcast.
Ian's gonna get a writing out soon. I hope.
Yep.
He's gonna do that, and then you have the full access to Ian's angry video rants right away in Television Amico format of that. You can see how much he loves to see that pool game on display there.
Yes.
Okay, so you have a poll topic you can vote on every week. So in third place, are phone games real video games? Only 13%. I want to think that's because people know that phone games are video games and they're real games.
I'm just gonna hope that everyone's like, yes, mobile games are games. Thank you.
And in second place, will we ever see another major console that is not Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft? To that effect, have you seen the Amico gameplay trailer? Come on, how can you ask that? They're going to come storming in. And in first place,
Fucking quaking in their boots.
at 59%, sick day memories. Ian, you're the sick day person. I think let's have you spin a yarn about your sick days as a child.
I just remember, like, very clearly there was always a protocol for if I was sick. And it was basically sleep in. At some point in time, my mother would go and get saltines in ginger ale.
You didn't have ginger ale always on hand, like a Canada Dry bottle?
Not always on hand, no. Saltines and ginger ale, and that's what I would subsist on until my stomach would get normal again. Even into like high school, this was basically my sick routine. If it was like the flu or something, if I started to feel better, I would. It's funny. I used to eat tons and tons of ramen when I was a kid. And I never knew really what it was. My mom always called it Oodles of Noodles because
That's what it was. That was the brand name.
That was the brand name.
I had Oodles and Noodles.
Yeah, and it was like always.
It was cheap.
Yeah, it was always in the cupboard, but it was like a sick day food. It was only something we ever ate when we were sick.
Emergency food.
Yeah, it wasn't until like I was in high school, cooking on my own, like finding cheap snacks and stuff, that I realized that ramen was, not only something that people eat frequently, but it was an Asian, like, you know, it was a Japanese soup that was very popular around
That's
the
like
world.
their sandwich.
Yeah, I never knew what the fuck. Like, yeah, I always
not everyone eats sandwiches every day around the world.
I just thought of ramen as some sort of like, instant ramen as some sort of shitty American product, but no, it's kind of ingenious.
No, Oodles and Noodles was like the first like giant step into the marketplace because they had a cool name. It's like, oh, it's Oodles of Noodles.
Yeah,
it's like that's brilliant.
The history of ramen is actually like instant ramen is pretty interesting too. Reading a manga.
When are we gonna get our ramen product? When are we gonna license this, Ian?
When are we gonna get us some
See
product?
You podcast noodles.
Yeah. God damn it! The fucking health crisis has. I bet you it's delayed rap noodles.
Oh no!
Because rap noodles still aren't out.
Oh no, Ian! I'm sorry, Ian. Don't look it up.
Sorry,
It's not Meredith Baxter Burney. Stop. He's looking it up while we're doing a topic.
Yep, rap noodles still aren't out. But there is an ebook called Prison Ramen. Recipes and stories from behind bars. I think I want this. Actually.
Okay, Ian. Your birthday's. What was your birthday? August. It's coming up. Anyway, so okay, back to your sick days, Ian. What was your sick day routine?
So it was that. Then I would watch a lot of Nick Jr. Now that was something I did all through high school as well. I would just watch children's programming.
Nick Jr. by that point was like the mid '90s.
Yeah, I was watching a lot of Blue's Clues.
There never was a Blue's Clues. I was too old.
I was too patently too old for a show that showed the same episode 5 times in a week, so that it was just drilled into their fucking head.
Kids are like little animals. They need the same.
They need the same thing.
Yeah. So did you like play more video games when you were sick than usual?
Well, that's generally how like my parents could always tell if I was like faking or not. Was that when I am like real sick,
you can't play video games.
You
can't focus on.
I can't focus on shit. Playing video games is tough. Reading is tough. I just fucking sit there and exist in misery when I am sick.
Did you usually get colds or like fevers? Did you have a sickness of choice or not choice of a preference?
In high school, I got like a pretty bad flu. I would say once a year for 4 years.
Never got the shot.
I did. I started getting the shot after that. Okay. In my adult life, I started getting the shot.
Yeah, flu's bad. Flu can put you down for a bit.
But yeah, ramen, instant ramen, Blue's Clues, saltine crackers. That's what I did when I was sick. And then, I mean, I would always try to play games, but it was when I couldn't. That's when I realized that I was bad off. Badly off.
Sure. And you probably got sick like 6-7 times a year, probably during the school year, something like that.
I was probably legitimately sick like 2 to 3 times a year during the school year. How many times was I staying
Did
home
you
sick?
fudge a few on top of that?
Oh yeah, I absolutely fudged a few of them.
Okay. Well, the reason I had you carry this,
I know, it's
Ian,
because you never called me
because
sick.
I wasn't allowed to be sick
You weren't allowed to be
when
sick.
I was a child. So I'm not even exaggerating. So I went Catholic schooling up in from K to basically 12.
K to 12.
So K to 8 and then 9 to 12. So that is what is that? Pat math. That's 13 years of schooling. 13 years of schooling. I was probably out sick from school in 13 years, not a prior appointment or like a death in the family. It's like probably about 9 times in 13 years.
Wow.
Probably I had from K to 8 about 5 perfect attendance awards. And my parents probably still have them tucked into the report card. You got 4 you got 4 report cards. We get 2 report cards. You got 2 report cards as a kid. You got one at the end of, I think, before Christmas, and then you got one in June when you're out. You got 2 report cards, and they just wrote on the same one. You handed it back, or they signed it, you handed it back. But at the end of the year, it was in a little sleeve. Here's the diocese, because it's a Catholic school. You have the diocese, your local diocese, and then you had your grades. Number of days out were there. So I always had the either 1 or 0 usually. I think one year was 2. Oh my God. And then you had your perfect attendance certificate slid in if you had the 0. And boy, I showed that off because it was miserable not being able to be sick. Snot coming down, mucus, going to school every day.
Getting everyone else sick.
Getting everyone else sick. Had like the blanket of crusty tissues on like your school desk. It was fantastic. Or just use your sleeve because you're like 7, 8 years old. You don't know any better. You're supposed to use your sleeve nowadays, not use your hands anyway.
Cough into your elbow.
So it was hard for me to remember since they were so few and far between. But I probably did play Nintendo. I probably watched the same thing as your summer routine when you got up. You get up and you'd watch The Price is Right at like 11 a.m. Then you make yourself a little sandwich, or like you said, you'd have oodles of noodles, or we were more of the soup. We had Campbell's soup. This Campbell's soup cost in 1989 probably cost like 40 cents a can. So mom would stock whatever was cheapest.
Yeah.
The problem with chicken noodle soup was there was barely any chicken in Campbell's chicken. You had to like really search for those little nuggets of chicken in there.
Fucking Campbell's condensed soup is a joke if you're trying to eat it as an actual soup. You can only
add a gallon of water.
You add a can of water to it, and then what's in there. So you're already diluting what's in there by half. Campbell's chicken noodle soup is... You could drink it. You could eat it through a straw.
I mean, there's noodles there. In theory, there's noodles, but the chicken is. And then you had like your friends say, "Oh, I heard the rumor that like they're allowed to have a certain number of rat pieces in their soup." Because then now I'm looking at it as a kid. Oh, is that really rat chunks instead of chicken chunks? Because you listen to the stupid kid, listen to Bobby down the street tell you that. You know what I mean?
Fucking Bobby ate paint chips.
Bobby beat Pat up. Anyway, I told the story about pushed me in the puddle. But that's the whole point. Is so. And then my mom, like when you were sick as a kid, both my parents went to work. So it's like you fended for yourself.
Yep.
So you had to make do. So yeah, I was when I was a kid, it was either I was sick because I guess I probably had bronchitis. I didn't go see the doctor. I never went to see the doctor. Just spitting up yellow and brown phlegm for 3 weeks.
Kids don't get sick.
We don't get sick. Sickness isn't a thing. If you're some people or Vince McMahon, God, it's not a thing. But I did have migraine headaches that occurred, I'd say, once every year in school or 2, where they were so bad. They're literally ones where you couldn't move.
Right.
You're laying down where I had to go home early. My mom would come pick me up if she wasn't. My mom started working when I was like 11. So like the first few years, she'd pick me up. So you go home, you couldn't play Nintendo. I mean, when you had the migraine, I guess it doesn't count because it wasn't sick. Your ass was just dead. Migraines, the light hurts you. Like I had real migraines where the lights had to be off. I couldn't.
Sure.
No light. Thankfully, this is what happens with most people with migraines. They get less frequent until they're gone. So at this point, I probably hadn't had a real migraine in probably 3-4 years. They space out. Once I got to my 20s, it was like once every 2 years, and they get less and less frequent. Now they're gone. Thankfully, I can't imagine if you have migraines all the time, like some people, that's hell on earth. But now there's been more treatments they found for migraines year after year. They've gotten closer to discovering what the fuck's going on. Migraines is like the big mystery for so long. Like, what the hell are they? Anyway, so when you have a real migraine, you are shit out of luck. You can't even go outside and play or whatever, even be on a computer. I will tell you this story, though, to make this a little more fun. But the time I was sent home because I crapped my pants.
Oh, good.
I will tell you this story. So this was, I want to say it was 2nd grade. So it was 2nd grade is when I got my NES at Christmas. I want to say, though, this was after I got the NES here. So 2nd grade, Second grade is when they started to do teacher swapping for like one course.
Kinky.
Does that like, well, I guess that sounds kind of bad. Hey, whatever. I was 8 years old in second grade. Yeah, 8 to 9 years old. So they would rotate the teachers around to your class. They then, by third and fourth grade, they would actually have you get up and move to sort of. By fifth grade, they would have you like simulate high school, sort of to prepare you by having you move around. But
you would move for a couple.
But
of
in my Catholic school, it was every grade was 2 or 3 different classes, and you all had a different main teacher that taught you most everything, except for a couple of things. And by 7th, 8th grade, you had one math teacher. You know what I mean? It was more like high school. So though this was a rotation teacher that taught social studies, and she was only around, I think, for that 1 year. So when you're 7, 8 years old, you think every teacher is fucking old because you have no semblance of who's old and not. Right. You have like you either know older or really old, like grandparents or parents, right? So this teacher, looking back, was probably in her only mid to late 20s. But when you're a kid, she's probably 40 or 50. You have no idea. But she's probably a younger teacher. So I remember sitting there, and I was next to Ginny. I never forget this. Ginny, the only person I knew in my life named Ginny. Ginni was Ginny. She was sitting there, and she was a kind of like average girl, tomboyish. She was friendly.
Jeanette. Like a Jeanette, yeah.
But this was, I think her name actually was Ginny, though.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think. So I was sitting there next to it, and they used to like double you up. And they used to do boy, girl, because it was less talking when they would double up your desk.
Right.
So I'm in class, and I usually didn't have to go use a toilet to do something serious. I usually, when I got home, I was okay. For some reason this day, something was off. So I went to the teacher, and I think the teacher was annoyed because people were talking. And when I asked to go to the bathroom, maybe once a week, because I usually went during like lunch break or whatever. I went to the bathroom, you know what I mean, or whatever. So I raised my hand, Miss whatever her name was, can I go to the bathroom?
I think I remember you talking about this actually at one point.
On the podcast, I go, Miss, I'll call her Miss C. Miss C, can I go to the bathroom? She said no, and like was angry at me, even though I was like, I didn't do anything.
Right.
So I was afraid to ask again, because I'm like, I'm probably, let's see, 87. I'm probably not even 8 years old yet. I'm probably like 7.5 years old here. And so I just sat there and I was like, okay, this is going to get bad. Maybe I'll get through class or this period. Nope. Something just went and went.
Boom.
It went, and it didn't make a noise, if I remember, but it smelled bad. It smelled bad. And then I guess Ginny thought that I'd flatulated. And so she's like, ooh, that smells. She moved away, but the smell didn't go away. So it just lingered. And then I was sort of in the back of the class, which I think saved me over time. I was kind of in the back of the class, and I put my chair, those fucking we saw those old ass 50s wooden chairs with the metal freaking legs that could kill you. You know what I mean?
Yes, those things
and
are
I
so
just
uncomfortable.
I went the 8 feet, like she was there. I like literally in class as a kid was like 7 feet away, like 6 feet away. And then I think the teacher, to her credit, realized I made a massive mistake.
Right, yeah.
Because she noticed probably something was happening, like, or a few of us were laughing, and they were laughing at me. I was, when you crap your pants as a kid, this is the only time it ever happened to me ever. It's the most embarrassing thing in the world. You want to fucking die.
Yeah.
You want to die.
I did it once in school.
You want to fucking die. And it wasn't my fault, too. I was just in a bad place at a bad time.
You tried.
I asked, can I go? And she said no. I'm like, okay. And so the teacher, to her credit, didn't say like, what's going on. She realized something was amiss, or maybe she smelled it from the front of the room. I don't know. She probably just saw people, or she realized, hey, that kid that asked me to go to the bathroom, now everyone around him are saying he smells. So she was smart enough. She's probably a 27-year-old gal back then. She went and got the nurse, and they said, oh, Patrick, you're sick or something. And they got me out without embarrassing me.
That's good.
To that teacher's credit, she fucked up by letting me poop my pants, but she got the nurse and got me out without my life being fucking ruined as a kid.
That's good.
Like, from that point forward, it was like no one really knew about it, except a couple people kind of, something kind of went on. But you're like 7 or 8. By the time you're 14, people forget that stuff. So what happened was, my mom comes, picks me up. I forget. I don't know if they wrapped a towel around me. I'm in my fucking, thank God, navy blue Catholic school pants. We had the, you know what I mean? Sent me home, and I got in the shower immediately. And then the rest of the day, I remember I was fine. I wasn't sick. Yeah. I just pooped my pants. I remember for some reason, some things are so vivid. I was so relieved in more ways than one to be home at that point. I remember putting on, I had like my pink orange jams, jam shorts. God, what, jams gonna come back? I remember something's I've photographed them for. I remember bouncing the generic, like $2.99 or $1.99 bouncy plastic ball you get at the supermarket. Remember they had like the big cage of them, and bouncing that in the back rec room where the ghosts were, bouncing the ball. And I remember that so vividly that I was just happy to be home, but no one else was home yet. But I wasn't sick, but I was just bouncing the ball like, hey, I'm happy, I'm a kid, maybe play with a G.I. Joe or two. And I got out of a nearly childhood-ending incident without anyone discovering it. Like, it was like if I was in the middle of the classroom, Ian, that happened.
That would have been the end.
That was the end of my. And I got bullied for being fat or having glasses anyway. Well, I got glasses in, a year after Nintendo kicked in, like 3rd grade. I got glasses, so my life would have been over in grade school. It would have been over. I had to learn how to fight really quick, and I didn't get into a real fight until 8th grade. That's a whole other Tales from Past Childhood. Is my 8th grade fight.
That is.
I never really explained that to you. That's a legendary tale from past childhood there. But yeah, that's my Pat pooped his pants story. So, damn you, social studies teacher! You almost ruined my life. Let the kid go to the bathroom. I wasn't talking. Don't take out your angry on little Pat. Because everyone else is talking in the classroom. That used to happen all the time. We're like, oh, you can't go to the bathroom because everyone's talking. What if I gotta take a piss?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Just fucking do it on the floor.
No, I'm sure it almost got there, Ian, through my pants. Thanks for that Patreon question, which I wanted to spin that yarn. That turned into like a Tales from Past Neighborhood. But that was the only time I had an incident like that happen. Why did you poop your pants as a kid? You remember?
I don't. I just remember I did it once in school.
What was in school?
I think it was the same sort of thing. It was like, no, you can't go to the bathroom. It's like, all right, then I'm fucking going right here.
But it didn't ruin your childhood, though. Wasn't.
No.
I guess it didn't smell as bad. At least mine did at the time.
No.
What did Mom make the night before that? That was that much of it.
That was so volatile.
Too much chicken parmesan.